Hello my friends, this is a look in the dark, chapter 13, which is called The Lens, and this is the first part of that chapter. But first I need a sip of my coffee. We've been out in the snow and it's cold. Right. As was her Saturday night custom, since her move to Somerset, Sue lifted the telephone and dialed her parents' number. When her mother answered the call, she seemed to fairly quickly pass the phone to her husband. That was unusual, so Sue knew her dad had something on his mind, and she could picture him impatiently gesturing to be given the receiver. Whenever Sue phoned her parents, her imagination transported her into the family living room. "Listen, Sue," the father began. "I was walking past that Greek fella's cafe. What's his name? Spyro, is it?" "No, Dad. Theo." "That's it, Theo. Well, anyway, he called me back and said he wanted to talk. He said that he had important information for your employers, but he didn't know how to contact you. I told him we don't have any contacts for you either. We're not going to let on we know the address and phone number, right? Your mother and I don't like that much, you know. Anyway, Spyro, he says..." "Theo, Dad." "Yes, Sue, Theo. Well, he said to get in touch. I told him you would be ringing us tonight. He brought me in and gave me tea and all, and wanted me to eat a meal. He's a nice man." "Why all this darn secrecy, Sue?" "So what did he tell you, Dad?" "Nothing. He said he would only talk to Danny, Carol or you. Said it was better that way. All a bit MI5, innit? What's going on? Is the job working out all right? You're a bit quiet, Sue. Is everything all right?" "Oh yes, fine." Sue was trying to work out the best way to deal with this. "Danny and Carol are away on business for a few days, but I have the very best of work to get on with here. You know, Daddy, I'm so happy. I just love working for the Greens. I'm working for friends, and I'm learning so much, as well as this work being really worthwhile. Good, love. I'm pleased for you, and so is your mother. We don't like all this secrecy. Dad, I'm interested in Theo's conversation with you." She decided to move the conversation with her dad on a bit. "He gets very excited, though. Hot Greek blood, love. Anyway, he says you have his number. Give him a ring." "Will you? I promised you would." "I will, Dad. Be nice to talk to him. He got a bit under the collar about your old boss, Stanhurst, Dad." "That's him. Your friend at the cafe says to call him a pig or a dog is an insult to God who made them." I didn't know what to say, so I just changed the subject. Asked if he liked living in England. He does, but he says there are two problems. One would be the weather. "That's right, Sue, and the other is your old boss, Denis." So we're right back on the subject again. Sue laughed, but she could read her father's inquisitive mind, and there was no way she wanted to let him know anything more than he knew already. "Those two hate each other, Dad. Stanhurst is a nasty guy, and Theo either loves or hates you, and he sure shows his feelings." "Well, ring him, love, okay." "Will do, Dad. I love Theo, but he gets very excited about very little at times." "Sue, have you got a social life down there?" "Some, but I am here to work." "And there's a lot to be done quickly. Well, take some time to rest, Sue. All work and no play makes Jack as dull as a dead donkey." Sue had a few more exchanges with her father, and then her mother had her usual 15 minutes. After that they all said their good nights, and Sue returned her imagination to the Greens' home in Frome. The Parry parents passed slightly anxious glances across the room. Bill Parry expressed his concerns to Deborah that whatever Sue was involved in, she wasn't telling them much. Debbie expressed the thought it was like the time when she'd been convinced that Julian Painter was a spy, or he'd been convinced that Julian Painter was a spy. "That was a joke." "You're a joke, Bill Parry." She kissed him on the head and went to put the kettle on. "One thing I'm sure of, Bill, that lovely Mrs. McGovern would never want to harm our daughter." She stated that from the kitchen. "I'm sure you're right, but why did Sue think she was called McGovern, but now she calls her Carol Green?" By now Sue had telephoned Theo, having looked up the number while talking to her mother. He told her that he had photographs for the Greens, and that the person on the pictures had been spending a lot of time with Stanhurst and with the other man, the one Theo had implicated earlier, with a car registration number. Theo claimed to know this man's face, the new one, but he wasn't sure who he was or how he recognised him. Sue cautioned Theo. "Be careful taking pictures, Theo." "Theo is careful, Sue. I use telephoto lens, long way off, never see me. Have them all three on the film, all developed and is waiting here. Need to get Danny soon." Right, Theo. Well, think of something. Cannot give the address I promised. I know that. That okay. Hey, you like work for Danny and Carol, eh? I love to work for them, Theo. Thanks for helping Carol find me. Ha! No problem, Sue. I say every day, if I have a daughter like you, I'd be proud, yeah? I tell your father that. That's kind, Theo. You didn't tell him anything else, did you? No, Sue. Like I tell you, Theo is careful. I want to get information to you, and I see your father. We drink coffee and tell him I must talk to you or Danny and Carol. Not say more. Get the Titanic raised before anyone learned anything from me. Secrets rest in my heart deep. Stay there, trust me. Hey Sue, you call Theo soon, eh? Yes, Theo, God bless you. You're a good friend, Theo. I'll call you as soon as I have a way. Once again, Sue's hand did not replace the receiver, but she quickly found and pressed the digits for the Irvines' home in County Tyrone. Hello, would it be possible to speak to Mr. Green, please? I'm very sorry, Danny is not here at the moment, and nor is Carol. Who is speaking, please? I'm Sue Parry. I do office work for Danny and Carol. Since there's a friendly tone of voice not unlike Carol, Sue added, Are you Carol's mum? Aye, that's me, Sue. Nice to talk to you. You know your daughter's a very special lady. Well, I think so, but it's nice to hear you say so when you work for them. I mean, they speak very well of you too. I believe you're a real worker. I'd need to be. They gave me a good job when I was really in need of it. Good. And how do you find Frome compared to London, I mean? Great. Would you kindly ask them to ring me when they come home? I will, dear, but I'm not sure when they'll be back. Not tonight. I don't think. They said they were going to do some field work, whatever that means. That's a pity. This is important. As soon as I talk to them or see them, I'll get them to give you a wee ring, dear, okay? Sue thanked Mrs. Irvine, replaced the telephone and thought for a minute and decided. She looked through Green's phone book and soon found the number in Weymouth. She was not at all sure how to address an aristocrat. She never had before and she was a bit nervous. However, it was important, so she tapped in the number. Calling him Lord Claymore, much to his amusement, she outlined the situation to him. He knew the poor girl was in awe of his birthright, and he was not going to have to let her see that aristocrats are just people, nothing more and nothing less. Well, Sue, I have to go to Surrey tomorrow afternoon, so I have to get out of the old bed a little sooner and go and meet this man, Theo, and collect his information. Just phone him for me, will you, and tell him I'll call about 9 in the morning, dear girl. Would you, please? Certainly, sir. Sue hesitated, wondering what aristocrats would feel about Theo's cafe. Will I ask him to have your breakfast ready, sir? His food is really tasty. Oh my, Sue, I've already heard about your Greek friend's culinary skills. Do you think he'd mind you asking ahead of bed for me? Oh no, sir. Sue was not sure what to say to this posh gent. I would think he would feel honoured, sir. I think I'll be the one to feel honoured. How are you coping with those records, dear girl? Okay. Sue wondered if he doubted that she was working while the Greens were in Ireland. Her dad had warned her about the wealthy always wanting a bit more work for the same amount of money. With a little more spirit, she added, I must be a quarter of the way through them now. That's capital, Sue, bless you. Are you taking some time to rest? That's a great volume of work you've got there. I do, but I really enjoy my work, sir. Well, at least I enjoy what the end result will be. Sometimes when I decipher some of this stuff, I get very angry. I know precisely what you mean. Sue, why don't you call me Ricky like everyone else? Well, my friends anyway. 1 or 2 people have other names for me. He enjoyed the girl's nervous laugh. Just plain old Ricky will do. Is that all right with you? All right, it's just that... Is it the Etonian accent? Well, let me say that I have a great admiration for the London one. In fact, one of my best friends is a jazz saxophonist called Edgar Burrows. Heard of him? No. Well, Edgar grew up in Tower Hamlets, and I could listen to his Cockney banter all day. It's almost as good as listening to his music. Anyway, Sue, you're doing a great job there. If you would kindly phone Theo, and if Danny or Carol get in touch with you, just tell them my plans for tomorrow, will you? Yes, Sir Rich. Yes, Ricky? Sir Richard was enjoying trying to set her at ease. Yes, Ricky. That's much better. I'll have to call sometime and get a look at some of those records, not to check your work, young lady, but to see where the 4 of us are heading. In the meantime, I wish you all the very best. Good night, and thank you very much. Good night, Ricky. Sue put the phone down and wondered at this friendly, wealthy aristocrat who had a friendship with the Greens and with a Tower Hamlets jazz player. She remembered that while her dad was very anti the establishment, he had still told her that every book had to be opened and examined. A beautiful or tatty cover is not the measure of book's value, it is what is written inside. She had memories of him helping her with his illustrations so that she'd never picked up some of the prejudices common among her school friends. She smiled and wondered if her dear father would be as quick to apply his own words to an Etonian toff. Once more she picked out the numbers on the phone that would allow her to converse with Theo in Clapham. She explained about the plan for the next day. A man would call at 9 in the morning, he would collect the photos, he was a special friend of the Greens, and yes, it was very safe to give him the pictures. So my friends, there it is. Sue being given information by Theo, giving it to Ricky because she can't get a hold of the Greens. Ricky is going to go and see Theo. What's going to be in the information? What's going to happen now? Theo's just longing to see Stanhurst get his comeuppance. Is this a step in the right direction? Thank you so much for listening. It's very, very cold here today, and we had no electricity when we came in. I think it's been off since about 3 o'clock, but it came in 15 minutes after we came home, so we timed it right. Hope there's no problems like that where you are. All the best to one and all. Love to everybody. Bye for now. Bye bye.